Think about a glass ball sitting on a shelf. It was manufactured in a factory somewhere, but once it is made, it exists entirely on its own. You could burn the factory down, and that glass ball would still be there. Now compare that to a piece of music. Since the Industrial Revolution, we have largely pictured the physical universe as that glass ball. We imagine a detached clockmaker who wound up the mechanism 13.8 billion years ago at the Big Bang, stepped back, and left the machine to run on its own. Classical metaphysical traditions, like those of the Sufi mystics, ask us to view reality differently. To them, the universe is music. It only exists for as long as it is being played. If the musician lifts their hands from the strings, the song does not wait in a warehouse. It simply ceases to be. These are more than poetic metaphors. Deciding whether the cosmos is a past tense object you are standing on or a present tense act you are standing inside of changes what it means to be a human being. Over the last 4 centuries, we inherited a strange assumption that the measurable and the meaningful live in different countries. We put laboratory equipment and differential equations in one region and prayers or private reflections in another, assuming we must pick a side. In 12th century Andalusia, the philosopher Averroes formalized a rule that cuts through this divide. Truth does not contradict truth. The formulas of theoretical physics and the metaphysics of Sufism are 2 distinct symbolic languages required to describe the exact same reality. One describes the mechanism, the other describes the meaning. Modern physics is driven by an audacious goal: to weave gravity, electromagnetism, and the nuclear forces into a single, elegant mathematical structure. Theoretical physicists like Mikio Kaku often referred to this ultimate unification project by a specific name, the God equation. But calling a mathematical formula God is a category error. It is like pointing to a dictionary and calling it the English language. A dictionary perfectly catalogs the rules, but it is not the living act of speaking, writing, or being understood. Even if we find a unified equation that maps the perfect grammar of the physical universe, it tells us nothing about whether that grammar is currently being spoken. Every act of speech still requires a speaker. We know where our physical map runs out. It is a boundary called the Planck scale, roughly 10 to the negative 35th meters. It is the absolute lower limit at which physical language can meaningfully describe anything. At this microscopic threshold, space-time geometry breaks down, gravity and quantum mechanics stop being compatible, and measurement categories collapse. A similar breakdown occurs with the quantum observer effect. A physical system lacks a determinate state until measured. The observer participates in what becomes real. To the mystic, this breakdown is a logical consequence of the map's limits. If the physical world is sustained by an act not physical itself, our equations naturally reach a threshold where the sustaining act begins. To understand what sits beyond that edge, we look to the 11th century philosopher Ibn Sina. He drew a line between a thing's essence, what it is, and its existence, the fact that it is. Knowing exactly what a unicorn is does not make a unicorn exist. Because physical things do not inherently own their existence, they are contingent. Every galaxy and every subatomic particle must borrow its being from a necessary source. The Sufi tradition calls this khalq jadid, or continuous creation. Every atom is being sustained, not just made. The universe is a pure act that must be caused at every instance to remain in being at all. Ibn Arabi's school calls this wahdat al-wujud, the unity of existence. It describes multiplicity as tajalli, or manifestation. Every tree and every stone is a place where a particular divine name has chosen to appear in a specific form for a specific moment. In this view, physical entities are not independent objects sitting on a cosmic shelf. They are temporary self-disclosures of a singular absolute reality playing out in real time. One convergence is empirical rather than speculative. The universe is mathematically readable. It could have been a chaos in which no pattern held, but instead, the deepest structures of light and gravity are captured in elegant, compressible form. The Nobel laureate physicist Eugene Wigner famously called this the unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics. From within physics itself, there is no obvious reason why our math should work so perfectly to describe nature. The classical Sufi tradition views the physical order literally as a book. The human intellect recognizes the mathematical structure of the cosmos because both the reader and the universe were forged by the same source of wisdom. This alignment suggests that the physical order was inscribed by a wisdom that intended to be understood. The universe is readable because the one who wrote it also made the reader. Science provides the grammar of the universe, the rules by which physical events unfold. Sufism provides the encounter with the author, the recognition that the grammar is being spoken and that the speech has meaning. Neither language works in isolation. Science without metaphysics gives us technology without wisdom, while metaphysics without science gives us profound insights that cannot grip the concrete world. Consciousness exists inside the sentence. The observer acts as a participatory consciousness, one way the universe has chosen to become aware of itself. We do not have to choose between the measurable and the meaningful. We can accept the gift of existence by rigorously transcribing the physics of the universe while listening for the music of its sustainer.